Hey everybody, it's Kirstin Nussgruber here from Kirstin'sCancerCare.com. And on tonight's Facebook Live, I want to chat to you about your mind, how you can positively use your mind to influence your health. And the great thing about that is I'm going to give you a tip at the end of this that you're going to walk away with that is one of the most economical and cost-effective things that you could possibly do. So stick around for that. It's going to be worth your while. And also, if you feel that you are a little bit challenged in this area and you would like some more help or information, I'm going to be able to offer you a really, really great discounted rate for my program. And I want to chat to you about that at the end of this 10-minute talk. I promise it's going to be 10 minutes that I want to talk to you about mindset and leave you with that tip at the end that's going to just make a difference in your life. I know it. I really, really do, because it's so simple that anyone can do that, right? So when it comes to your mindset, you've probably heard about the mind-body talk and how that all plays into it, right? But when we are diagnosed with cancer, when we are treated at a conventional cancer center, we still don't really see the implementation of that, right? So mind and body are still kept separate to a large degree. And I, for one, would have loved to have seen my oncologist include a mind-body paradigm as an integral part of my treatment, rather than just kind of keep it to the sideline and say, yeah, we've heard about that, and have a positive mindset and do whatever you need to do, find out what you need to do. And that was all that was really focused on that, right? But we know the mind-body paradigm is one. We can't separate them, we can't distinguish them, but that is exactly what has happened in modern medical care. But if we go back to the old ages, it was actually accepted that mind and body are one. They communicate with each other. It's an intricate system of intercommunication with one another. Why? Because it has an effect on everything that makes up our bodies, all the different body systems as well. So when you're thinking about your brain, you're thinking about your immune system, you're thinking about your digestive system, your respiratory system, right? Your breathing, anything related to your neurotransmitters, your hormones, all of that is interrelated. And the mindset, the thoughts, the emotions linked to that play a role. They can have a physical effect. And modern medical care recognizes that when we talk about the placebo effect, right? That's when they use that, because sometimes they use that to test maybe certain drugs or certain treatment patterns to see people that think they are receiving the drug or the treatment. They just think it, but don't actually physically receive it, have a marked physical response, a positive response to that. So that alone forms some form of scientific proof that there is this mind-body connection. Now, for me, when I was researching how to, support myself going through my own cancer treatments, and, that was one area that I really dived into, because it's fascinating. I came across a Japanese researcher, scientist, Dr. Masaru Emoto, and you may or may not have heard of him. He's no longer alive, but he really produced a vast body of evidence that he kind of stumbled upon. What he really wanted to do is study water, and wanted to see that the different water crystals may just look differently when they are frozen. And that's what he set out to do. But what he actually discovered with his research was that depending on where he sourced the water, the crystals looked differently once frozen. Okay, and how did he look at them? He had a very high sensitive camera, and then he froze the water, and that's how he could take pictures of water crystals. And he noticed that depending on where he sourced the water from, the crystals looked differently. So if you sourced them from a natural source like a lake or an ocean, the crystal looked vastly different than, for example, if you took it from the tap. So that kind of spiked his curiosity, and what he did was he started to experiment and see if the water is subjected to something from the outside, if that changed the actual physical structure of a water crystal. And yes, so he found that. So he subjected water to different types of music, including classical music, pop music, or really hardcore rock music, and found that the crystals actually looked very, very differently depending on what you exposed it to. So the really harsh Metallica-like sounds, that the water crystals were almost distorted. And he even took it further by starting to introduce words, because the Japanese culture does believe that every word carries a soul. So he would subject the water to the vibrational frequency of words by just naming the water and putting words, labeling glass jars of water with words. And he discovered that the crystals looked vastly different depending on the nature of the word. So if you had very positive, life-giving and reinforcing words like love and gratitude and honesty, and even phrases like giving birth or loving one another, the crystals were beautifully shaped, all in proportion. But when he used really negative words, that those crystals were vastly distorted. And you can see that. There's evidence there. You can see these images, and it's absolutely amazing if you think about what the implication here is. It means that you can physically change a structure by subjecting something to the frequency or vibrational frequency of something like words. So think back of, for us, right, our thoughts, our feelings, when we express ourselves, or even when we're thinking words, what is that doing to us? We are over 70% of water, right? Is that affecting how our body physically reacts, and how our different body functions react with each other? Like I mentioned earlier on, the immune system, respiratory system, digestive system, all those systems need to interact. Does it have an effect on them if they're subjected to negative, harsh terminology? And another area of research that one can include into this is called Psychoneuroimmunology. And what they wanted to do, these guys, is understand the relationship between the brain and the immune system. Is there a connection? Okay, so from a brain point of view of what we put out there in terms of our thoughts, our emotions, and does that affect our immune system, and how all these body functions actually express themselves. So from a psychological point of view, not just a physical, but a psychological point of view, can we affect the structure of and the functioning of our immune system? And you probably know what I'm going to say to you now, but yes, absolutely, that's what this body of evidence found. So these are just two very quick glimpses into this area of research that exists, that really hardcore produces results, repeatable, measurable results that say that the mind and the body are one. They're connected, they interact, they communicate with each other. So how does that affect us is the question, right? We can't just shut off thoughts. If we've been diagnosed with cancer, if we are going through cancer treatments, and if we are worried, we might be fearful for our lives, or even the lives of somebody that we are very close to, that is a state of stress that we are under, that you can't just flip a switch and switch it off, and you can't just suddenly subject yourself to gentle music and everything will be fine. I know that full well. So I've been on the receiving end many, many times for myself, but also for people that have been very close to me that I had to say goodbye to or watch suffer for a very long period of time. But what we can do, what we can start to do, is just create this awareness that the body-mind is one, that we are not separate, and that the thoughts that we put out there affect how we feel, and in the end actually affects how our immune system works. And we start with ourselves. We start by observing just how we interact with our environment on a daily basis. What are we putting out there, right, in terms of thinking, thoughts, in terms of words? What are we speaking? So it's not just thinking, but it's also speaking, expressing ourselves in our daily lives, right? At work, at home, with our partners, with our pets, to ourselves. What are we thinking? What are we saying? And if we do this one exercise, meaning that we catch our thoughts, right? Every single time we have a more negative thought or words that we express, we need to become aware of what we are doing. So we want to catch ourselves, right? We want to stop that because it's a habitual pattern. And it's quite normal for us humans to adopt a certain pattern, and we kind of fall into it without really thinking about it, right? But we can get irritated about maybe a slow driver in front of us, or, you know, especially when it comes to family environments where we kind of have a history of certain behaviors maybe that is maybe annoying or irritating. So when that behavior comes up again in our face, we can react with impatience, with annoyance, right? And is that the right thing to do? And should we stop ourselves there and think, what am I doing here? All right, is this healthy for me? Is it healthy for my environment? Because remember, when we also express these more negative thoughts, we are actually sending that vibrational frequency out there, and people that are close to us in close proximity are affected by it, and even people further away are affected by that too. That's why the power of prayer is so important, because you can pray for someone or meditate for someone who's very far away, and they can receive that, even though they're not, you know, location-wise not close to you. So it really, really pays to, you know, pay attention to the thoughts that we send out there. And you can adopt maybe something to kind of help you remember this. And this is a tip that I got from one of the many books that I read, because this was an experiment that one, I think it was a pastor or minister in his church community did. He got everyone these rubber bands, right, that you on your wrists. And he said, go out there, go about your daily lives, and every time you catch yourself thinking or expressing yourself in a more negative way, you remove that bracelet, switch it to the other arm, right? So in other words, associate that with a physical act of changing something, because that's what we really need to do to try and change this habitual pattern of how we react. And I dare you to do that, or find your own way in which you kind of remind yourself of this. It is fascinating how when you start doing this, you will be shocked, right? Totally shocked at how often you actually express yourself or think in a more of a negative way, and how we just have to become more aware of that and stop that. And that doesn't cost you anything. It's a very economical way, and you are immediately affecting your own immune system and the functioning of your entire body, as well as that of others. So think about that. That's really, really such a simple thing to do, is catch your thought, right? And force yourself to react to it by maybe, you know, switching over a bracelet or something else, so that you slowly but surely become more aware of what you're doing. And that's going to help you to stop yourself in time. And in the end, you actually won't have to physically change anymore, because you're stopping yourself even before you're expressing that. So it's a very cool thing to do. It takes some time, but it can even be a game in your family. But it's certainly something that will help you, help your immune system, and use your mind to positively engage yourself on your own health plan. So I promised I would chat to you about my really, really cool offer that I have right now. I have a first steps to take control of your cancer care program, which is meant to really jumpstart the self-healing, the self-care, your proactive side who wants to do something, who's overwhelmed by all that information out there. And I'm offering it to you at 60% off. So it usually goes for $497, and I'm offering it to you for a limited time period over the summer, $197 right now. Why is this so important? We have to do more. We have to step outside the box. We can't just sit back, either wait for something to happen, wait for a diagnosis to happen, and then see how the doctors will take care of us. Or when we are in the middle of treatments, that is not enough. We need to do so much more. And this issue of how we use our minds, I address that in my program. There's a whole module in my program, and I'm going to put the link to the program in here. You can read up more about that. It's totally doable. It's at your own pace. You have access to it for life. You get a support group with it. You get lots of nice bonuses with it too. So there's a lot in there to help you take control of your healthcare again. And that is something that you and I need to do. We all need to do. It's our responsibility. No one else is going to do that for us, not even our most well-meaning oncologist. It's our responsibility. And I want to help you with that. I want to make it affordable for you. So have a look at the link that I'm going to post in the comment section, and I'm going to give you more information about the program. So catch that thought. I want to see you do it, and I want to see you post comments. So this Facebook Live is going to be on my news feed here. So just, let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you found a way to catch your thoughts and if you've had any revelations. So I'd love to hear your comments. Share this with friends or family, because it's such a simple thing that you can do. Catch your thought every day and let the magic begin. So take care for now.